Today we'll be advertising this wonderful book, Pride and Prejudice. This book is good for teens because teens love love.
Once upon a time, there were a family called the Bennets. There were 5 daughters: Jane, Elizabeth, Mary, Kitty, and Lydia. Only Jane, Elizabeth, and Lydia mattered, though.
A rich neighbor, Mr. Bingley, moved in and held a ball and madly fell in love with Jane. Oh, and he brought his 2 sisters and one of their husbands and a maid named Mr. Darcy.
Jane is very shy with her feelings and ends up getting sick and staying at Mr. Bingley's house. Mr. Darcy starts liking Lizzie, and they grow together as Elizabeth takes care of her sister.
Later on, Mr. Collins, aka their cousin who inherits everything, comes and decides he wants to marry Elizabeth. Anyways, the Milton comes to town and Elizabeth is told a tragic backstory, which she believes.
Soon there is another ball where Mr. Darcy dances with our beloved Elizabeth. Lizzie's entire family is embarrassing, like her mom loudly announcing that they all expect Mr. Bingley to marry Jane.
Mr. Collins proposes to Elizabeth and she denies and gets into a huge fight with her mom. Ooh. Anyways, Charlotte, another cousin, ends up marrying Mr. Collins.
Jane then gets a breakup letter from Mrs. Bingley. Jane goes to London to see Mr. Bingley again. Elizabeth goes to see Charlotte, who is going to see Mr. Collins' boss, aka Mr. Darcy's aunt.
Mr. Darcy proposes to Elizabeth and she obviously says no. The next day, she's given a letter that tells the full story about Mr. Wickham and Jane. And Lizzie slowly transforms. Later, Lydia is sent to the followers in Brighton. Huge mistake.
Elizabeth goes on a trip to Derbyshire, where Mr. Darcy lives. Don't worry, he's out of town, and Elizabeth finds that everyone only has good things to say about him. That confuses her. But it turns out Mr. Darcy is home early.
Before any love happens, we find that Lydia has run off with Wickham. This would cause the family to be ruined, so Lizzie's uncle and father try to track down the 2. Their uncle finds the 2 and they bring them back married. When Lydia lets it slip that Mr. Darcy was at the wedding, Elizabeth knows that there's more than it looks.
It turns out Mr. Darcy saved the family honor. He found the 2 and paid off Wickham's debt for Wickham marrying Lydia. Bingley comes back and proposes to Jane, who says yes. Lady Catherine visits Longbourn to make Elizabeth reject any proposal from Darcy. That doesn't work.
When Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth get time together, he proposes to her, and they live happily ever after, I guess. That's right, folks. You can buy this book for $9.99. So go buy it right now. Go!